2 by-elections, 2 counts, 2 historic wins. One disastrous night for the Conservatives.
Hey, democracy is happening.
Cheers for Keir Starmer and his newest MP, the member for Mid Bedfordshire this morning. Together with Tamworth, these represent one of the worst by-election nights a UK government has ever endured. The reason, according to Labour?
It is clear that the voters here have turned their back on a failed Tory government. They've had enough of the decline of the last 13 years and they are crying out for change.
But this wasn't just change in Mid Bedfordshire, it was the largest numerical majority overturned in a by-election ever.
There's no two ways about it. These wins are significant. The win here in Mid Beds is historic. Now, of course, there are caveats. By-elections often favour opposition parties, and lots of Tory voters didn't turn out. Voter turnout was only 44%. It's often in the 70s around here. So there's no guarantee this victory can be replicated in a general election. But the mere fact that a seat so blue could turn very red will send a shiver through the Conservative Party. The message to many Tory MPs who are sitting on what they thought were safe majorities into the thousands, more than 10,000, be worried.
Mid Bedfordshire, a constituency that has never voted Labour, and a Tory majority of almost 25,000. That was overturned last night. Labour's majority now 1,192. That's a swing of 20.5%. In Tamworth, the swing was even bigger. A Tory majority just shy of 20,000. Now Labour's by a margin of more than 1,300. That's a swing of 23.9%. No government has previously lost so safe a seat as Tamworth to the main opposition party in a by-election. For the failed Tory candidate, Andrew Cooper, it was all too much. As a common courtesy, the losers usually stay for the victor's speech.
Tonight, the people
He did
of
not.
Tamworth have voted for Labour's positive vision and a fresh start. They've sent a clear message.
In Mid Beds this morning, a seat Tory since 1931 was coming to terms with change.
Tories are out, Labour in. How do you feel about it?
Not very pleased at all.
Not surprised. Not at all surprised.
Not surprised. May I ask, did you vote for the change candidate?
Oh, I won't say who I voted for. Thank you.
But are you pleased with the result?
Yes.
Why were you thinking about not voting?
Um,
You were a Conservative Party member?
yeah, I've been Conservative all my life. And the reason I think probably I wasn't is because they have made a bit of a mess of things, unfortunately.
Those disenchanted Conservatives are exactly the people Tory High Command say they need to win back.
But we haven't seen an increase in the Labour vote. What we have seen is a large number of previous Conservative voters staying at home. Now that is both a challenge for us, but it's also an opportunity to win those voters back to voting Conservative at the next general election.
I think it's pretty clear now that many people want to turn their back on 13 years of decline and vote for a changed Labour Party that has a positive case to make about the future.
But are they actually voting for the Labour Party? Or isn't the reality of this? This is just Tory voters not turning up.
Well, look, if you look at the last 4 by-elections, we've had 20% swings to Labour. But there is no denying now that these are historic and important wins, seats which many people said the Labour Party could never win. The mood of the country is changing.
Tory messaging has consistently been by-elections punish sitting governments. The growing fear among Conservatives facing a general election is that these mid-term blues become long-term reds.
Paul McNamara reporting there. Well, we did ask the Conservatives for an interview, but no one was available. Earlier, I spoke to polling expert Sir John Curtis about what the by-election results might mean for the party. But first, I did manage to catch up with Energy Minister Andrew Bowie on the streets of Westminster after he finished another media engagement.
Obviously we're going to take lessons from these by-elections, but what we've really got to do now, and I think what the British people expect us to do now, is really focus on delivering on their priorities. That's what I'm going to do, that's what I know the Prime Minister's going to do, and that's the lesson I'm taking from the last.
There are Conservative Party members that are
devastated right now. What would be your message to them?
And look, I thank them so much for all their efforts. You know, by-elections are tough. I've been on the doors, and I understand how wearing it is to go.
It's not just by-elections, though. There's a policy expert saying that actually, when you extrapolate this out to the general election, that these results might carry. That's really concerning and worrying for them.
We're a long way off from the general election. Obviously, last night was disappointing, but we've got to refocus and redouble our efforts, deliver on the priorities as the Prime Minister set out. I think if we do that, then we can earn the British people's trust back again.
So will Rishi Sunak be able to do anything to change these numbers, do you think?
Well, I think certainly if, in the wake of the Uxbridge by-election, where the result was rather better, the Conservatives think that they can fight a successful national campaign by rowing in on net zero and exploiting some local grievances about low emission schemes, they need to think again. The truth is, if you want to know why the Conservatives are behind, well, first of all, it's the experience of Liz Truss and her fiscal event, which has seriously damaged voters' confidence in the government's economic competence, as well as indeed arguably also having damage on the real economy. Conservative voters who think the economy is doing badly are now less likely to say they'll vote Conservative again. The second challenge they face are public services and above all the health service. Unless waiting lists get down, it's going to be difficult to get Conservative voters back because again, those who think the health service is doing badly are in fact less likely to vote Conservative again.
Another interesting element came out, and that's the Reform Party.
Yes.
So if they didn't have those votes, then the Conservatives might have won in both of those seats. Just how significant is that and the splintering of right-wing parties?
Well, one of the problems the Conservatives face is there is quite a lot of discontent about Brexit, not just amongst those who voted Remain, but also amongst those who voted Leave. Some of them have now changed their minds and are now saying, well, actually, I'd vote to rejoin the European Union. And they are ones who, by the way, are also more likely to have switched to Labour. But equally, there are others who say, well, no, Brexit isn't going terribly well, but that's because we've not implemented it properly. We've not tried to exploit the opportunities that Brexit delivers. And that, together with discontent with the Conservatives for lots of other reasons, means that they're using Reform as their party protest. And yes, in Tamworth, where there was a 66% Leave vote in 2016, Reform managed to save their deposit.
Keir Starmer and the Labour leadership have been cautiously optimistic on the airwaves all of today. Is that right, that they're cautiously optimistic right now?
There's at least 12 months to go, probably, to the next general election. And yes, Labour, therefore, need still to be constantly putting their best foot forward. And I think also they do still need to sell Keir Starmer more effectively, and they do need eventually to give voters a clearer idea of what the party stands for, because we still have this sense of people being more impelled away from the Conservative Party than being attracted to the opposition and to Labour in particular.
Professor Curtis, thank you very much for going through those numbers with us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.